Welcome back दोस्तों. Let us take our today's topic, which is optical isomerism. We have already studied optical isomerism in organic chemistry. If you remember, we have dextro, levio, enantiomers. All this we have already studied in organic chemistry. So let us use this concept of optical isomerism in coordination compounds. Suppose we have a glass tube which is known as polarimeter tube. In it, I take the coordination compound in liquid form and I pass plain polarized light through one side of the polarimeter tube. Now, what is plain polarized light? Plain polarized light is the light whose vibrations are only in a single plane. So we have taken plain polarized light. If this plain polarized light's vibration after passing through this glass tube containing the coordination compound, if this plain polarized light rotates towards the left side, then we will say the compound is LeVo. It is left side rotating. And if this plain polarized light, which is vertically upward, if after passing through this polarimeter compound, if it rotates towards the right, we say it is dextro compound. The compound which rotates plain polarized light towards the left side will be called as LeVo compound, which is denoted by negative sign, and the compound which rotates this plain polarized light towards right is called dextro compound, which we denote by plus sign. So this is what is optical isomerism. So we have two types of compounds. One is optically active compound. So first one we are talking about is optically active compounds. Other set we have is optically inactive compounds. So what is the salient feature of optically active compound and optically inactive compound? So for optically active compounds, we have no plane of symmetry, whereas for optically inactive compounds, we have plane of symmetry. So there is plane of symmetry, at least one plane of symmetry in optically inactive compound, and there is no plane of symmetry whatsoever in optically active compound. Second thing, in case of optically active compounds is there is non-superimposable mirror image. So we have non-superimposable mirror image. So we can say the mirror image of an optically active compound is not superimposable, whereas for optically inactive compound, the mirror image is superimposable. That means we can place it on the mirror image. So superimposable mirror image in case of optically inactive compound. Let us see what we mean by this. Suppose we take the first case of tetrahedral complexes. So if we consider tetrahedral complex, let us say first example in it Na4, in which the metal is joined to 4 monodentate ligands. So in that case the structure will be like this. We will have metal at the center and 4 monodentate ligands are as shown in this diagram. So the 3 monodentate ligands are coming out of the plane. One monodentate ligand is tetrahedral position in the behind the plane of the board. So 3 ligands are coming out of the board. 1 ligand is going into the board. So in this case, if I take the mirror image of this compound, it will be exactly same. The mirror image of this compound will be exactly same structure itself. That means this mirror image can be superimposed on the original compound. So we can say in this case the mirror image, is it superimposable or non-superimposable. It can be placed on the original compound. That means the mirror image is superimposable. That means these two compounds are one and the same. That means it does not have optical isomers. They are one and the same compound. That means they are having no other optical isomers. So we can say in this case superimposable mirror image. That means the compound is optically inactive. So we can say this kind of compound will be optically inactive compound. So we do not have optical isomers for this compound. So optical isomers for this compound are 0. Optically inactive, so optical isomers are 0. So this is the first example. Now after this, let us take another example like Ma2, or let us say MaB3. Let us take this example, MaB3 or something like Ma3B. So if we have Ma3B structure, so let us place these three A's as it is and the B at the top. So its mirror image will be exactly same. Again the mirror image is superimposable on the original compound. So this compound is optically inactive. That means the number of optical isomers are 0 because these two compounds are one and the same. Then moving on to our next case, which is let us say AB2C. So this is our next compound, MAB2C. Again we have one monodentate ligand A, two monodentate ligands B, and one monodentate ligand C. So let us make the structure like this. B and B I place here, A and C I place here. Now if you see carefully, its mirror image will be exactly same compound itself. If you see carefully, if I take this mirror image and superimpose it on the original compound, it is exactly superimposable. So superimposable mirror image means the compound is optically inactive and the number of optical isomers are again 0. But let us take last example in this series, which is MABCD. In this case, I have different ligands on each of the tetrahedron site. A, B, C, D. All the 4 ligands are different. Its mirror image will be like this. Here we will have D, here we will have B, and C will remain as it is. So now if you see carefully, in this case, this mirror image is not superimposable. If I take this mirror image and I try to superpose on this structure, will it superpose on it? No. In this case, because when I take this structure and put it here, B here corresponds to D and D here corresponds to B. So in this case, we have non-superimposable mirror image. So we can say non-superimposable mirror image means the compound is optically active. So we can say the compound is optically active and we have 2 optical isomers. In this case, they are the 2 optical isomers. If I call one of them as dextro, the other one will be levo structure. And we can say these 2 structures are enantiomers of each other. In organic chemistry, we have already studied these 2 are said to be enantiomers of each other. So we will write the spelling of enantiomer, E-N-A-N-T-I-O-M-E-R-S. These 2 dextro and levo structures are enantiomers of each other. Now you may think as if I take this compound and I rotate it by 180 degree, if I rotate this compound by 180 degree, then you may feel it will exactly map onto this one. But that is not the case, because this C is behind the plane of the board. When we rotate it by 180 degree, it will come out of the plane of the board. This C, which is behind the plane of the board, on rotating by 180 degree, it will come out of the plane of the board. So in this structure, C is inside the plane of the board. After rotating by 180 degree, this C for this mirror image will come out of the plane of the board. So this structure on rotation of 180 degree will look like this. We will have metal then we have B, then we have D, and in this case C will come out of the plane of the paper. So C will come out of the plane of the paper. So in this structure, C is inside the plane of the board. In this structure, C ligand comes outside the plane of the board. So these two are non-superimposable. That means to understand the concept of optical isomers for tetrahedral complexes, let us take a tetrahedron, for example, in which I have 3 ball pens which are coming out of the plane and one marker which is behind the plane. So this marker behind the plane shows this ligand C. This marker behind the plane shows the ligand C, whereas A, B and D, these are 3 ligands, A, B and D, whereas the C ligand is shown by marker which is behind the plane. Now, if I rotate this structure by 180 degree, if you see carefully, this ligand marker comes out of the plane. This is the initial structure in which C ligand is behind the plane. Upon rotation by 180 degree, this C ligand comes outside the plane. So in this structure, suppose this is the mirror image in which the C ligand is behind the plane. On rotating by 90 degrees, C ligand will come out of the plane. So in this case, C ligand will come out of the plane. So these two structures are non-superimposable. Hence we can say they are optical isomers of each other. So in this case, we have 2 optical isomers. So this is about the tetrahedral monodentate ligands. Only in case of MABCD, we have optical isomers. One is dextro, other one then we'll call as livio. One will rotate the plane polarized light towards left, another will rotate the plane of polarized light towards right. Which one rotates towards left, which one rotates towards right, that can be only determined experimentally. We cannot look at the structure and say this will rotate towards right, this will rotate towards left. We have to do experiment, and the one which rotates towards left will name as livio, and the other which rotates towards the right we will call as dextro. So this is similar to the chemistry compound which we learnt in organic chemistry, which is chiral carbon. Chiral carbon is the one which is attached to 4 different groups. So suppose we have a carbon which is attached to 4 different groups A, B, C, D. It is a chiral carbon and its mirror image is non-superimposable, and we say in this case optical isomers exist. There are 2 optical isomers for this kind of chiral carbon center. So same concept we have in case of metal, which is attached to 4 different ligands. It is like a carbon, chiral carbon, which has non-superimposable mirror image, and in this case we will have 2 optical isomers which are dextro and livio, which are collectively called as enantiomers. So this is about the MABCD tetrahedral structure. All other MA4, MA3B, all these are kind of non-optically inactive structures. This is the only one which is optically active. Then after this, let us come to more tetrahedral bidentate ligands case. Suppose we have 2 possibilities in this case. Suppose we have metal atom which is attached to 2 symmetric bidentate ligands. Suppose we have a tetrahedral structure in which we have the metal atom at the center, and we have one bidentate ligand like this, another bidentate ligand like this. Then in this case Ma2 structure, this is optically inactive, whereas in case of MAB2, second one, supposingly again we have a tetrahedral structure like this. Suppose this is AB, this is one ligand, and suppose this is another AB, another ligand. So this is one bidentate ligand, this is another bidentate ligand. Now in this case we can say it is optically active. In this case we will have 2 dextro, one will be dextro, one will be livio. 2 optical isomers exist in this case. So this is optically active. We have to remember this. MAB2 in which we have unsymmetrical bidentate ligands, two unsymmetrical bidentate ligands, tetrahedral structure, this will be optically active, and MAA2, two symmetrical bidentate ligands, this is optically inactive. So no optical isomers exist. So this is the case of tetrahedral geometry coordination compounds, optical isomers. After this, let us talk about next geometry, which is in our case DsP2 hybridization, which refers to square planar geometry. So suppose I take MABCD as the compound itself. In case 2, we have DsP2, that means square planar geometry. So in this case, I have a compound like this, metal atom at the center, A, B, C, D, 4 ligands at the corners of square, and we have 4 coordinate bonds between ligands and central metal atom. Now if you see carefully, if I have a MABCD plane like this, suppose this is a square, in the center we have metal atom, A, B, C, D at the corners are the ligands. So we have a plane about which there is symmetry. If I cut this structure MABCD at the center, so in that case we have plane of symmetry, and because we have plane of symmetry, we can say they are optically inactive. So in case of MABCD for square planar geometry, that means DsP2 hybridization, we can say there is plane of symmetry, and because there is plane of symmetry, we can say it is optically inactive, and the number of optical isomers are 0. So there is no optical isomerism in case of DsP2 hybridization. Most of the DsP2 hybridization compounds, they have plane of symmetry, and we can say in those cases, we will say where plane of symmetry exists, they are optically inactive. After this, let us take our next thing, which is octahedral geometry. So octahedral geometry we have already studied. Let us say first case 3, which is octahedral geometry. So for octahedral geometry, we have MA6 as the example. So metal atom at the center, 4 ligands in a square plane, 1 ligand above, 1 ligand below the square plane. So this is octahedral geometry. Now, in case of octahedral geometry, there are various plane of symmetry. If you see carefully, this plane, square plane, is one plane of symmetry. This plane, this is another plane of symmetry. This plane, this is another plane of symmetry. So one plane of symmetry like this, another plane of symmetry like this, and third plane of symmetry like this. All 3 planes of symmetry. So because there is existence of plane of symmetry, I can say the compound is optically inactive. Similarly, in this case, what are the various combinations? We have already seen this in geometrical isomers, AA, AA, and AA. So in this case, we can say there are no optical isomers. Then we have, let us say, next case, which is MA5B. MA5B will look exactly same. One of the A we will replace by B. Now, in this case, still there is this plane about which there is plane of symmetry. If I cut this compound like this, symmetric on left and symmetric on right. So this is one plane of symmetry at least. So plane of symmetry exists, therefore the compound is optically inactive. What are the various combinations? AA, AA, and AB. So what we see from this is whenever we have repeating AA, that means the compound is optically inactive. So we can say what is the trick? So trick for finding whether a compound is optically active or not in case of octahedral geometry is, if we have AA repeating, then we can say the compound is optically inactive. The compound is optically inactive. This is first point in the trick. Then let us take another example. Let us say we take next example of MA4B2. Let us take next example as MA4B2 in case of octahedral geometry. So next example is MA4B2. So what are the various combinations? AA followed by AA again, then BB. This is one combination. Other combination which we can have is something like this: AA followed by AB followed by AB. This is another combination which is possible. So in this case, I draw the structure like this. So this is our compound Na4B2. Now in this case, can you find out any plane of symmetry? So yes, there is plane of symmetry in this case. If I cut this compound like this by a plane like this, about this plane, this compound is symmetrical, because whatever structure exists above AAB exists below as well, AAB. So there is one plane of symmetry, and because there is plane of symmetry, I will say the compound is optically inactive. So here I have A opposite B and A opposite B. We are referring to this molecule or this coordination compound. In this case, I can say because there is repeating pattern ABAB. So because ABAB set repeats itself, hence we can say the compound is optically inactive. So these are the tricks which we should know for knowing if a compound is optically active or not. If AA set exists, then we have optically inactive compound. The same condition can be written as if BB set exists, then also the compound is optically inactive. If ABAB or something like CDCD exists, then we can say the compound is optically inactive. So what is the compound? What is the condition for a compound to be optically inactive? AA or BB kind of structure exists. In that case, it is optically inactive. Or we have ABAB, this repeating pattern, then also the compound is optically inactive. If they do not exist, if 1 and 2 conditions are not met, we can say the compound will be optically active. So let us take further examples of octahedral complexes. So let us take another example of octahedral monodentate ligand complex, which is, let us say, Ma3B2C. In this case, what are the various combinations which are possible? One is AA, then AB, because we have 3 A's. Then we have BC. This is one combination which is possible. Another combination which is possible is AA remains as it is. We take AC and BB. This is another possibility which can exist. Third possibility which can exist is we can take AB and let us take next example as AB itself. So I am combining these two. I am keeping this AB as it is. I am combining this A with this B and this A with this C. So AC. Now, if you see carefully, is this compound having optical isomers? All 3 are geometrical isomers in this case. These 3 are geometrical isomers. Now, if you see the first set, AA repeating pattern, that means this is optically inactive. If you see the second set, again AA repeating pattern, that means it is optically inactive. In the third set, we have ABAB repeating pattern, that means it is also optically inactive. So in this case, we can say 3 geometrical isomers exist and 0 optical isomers exist for this compound. So that is how we will analyze the answer. And this geometrical isomers plus optical isomers is stereoisomers. These two are collectively called as stereoisomers. Stereoisomers are composed of 2 parts. One is optical isomers, another is geometrical isomers. The sum of optical isomers plus geometrical isomers give number of stereoisomers. So in this case, we can say there are 0 optical isomers. So we have all of them as stereoisomers. All the geometrical isomers, 3 are stereoisomers itself. Let us take this discussion forward and take more cases. So next case we will discuss now is for the compound Ma3BCD. So let us take this example, Ma3BCD. This is also an octahedral compound because it has 6 monodentate ligands in this case. So let us see the various combinations. AA, again AB, then CD. So this is the possibility. 3 A's, 1 B, then C and D. Another possibility which can get in this case is AA, and I flip this A with C and B with D, so I get AC and BD. So this is geometrical isomer number 1, this is geometrical isomer number 2. Are there more possibilities? So we have AA, and let us flip these two together. So AD and BC. So this is the third geometrical isomer which is possible. Are there more isomers? Yes. So in that case, we will have to take this AB combination first and take these two together. So we will have AC and AD. So this is also another possibility. So now, if you see, none of them are repeating. So all four are different geometrical isomers. This is geometrical isomer number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4. So 4 geometrical isomers are possible in this case. Now if you see the first one, AA, repeating pattern. AA repeating pattern is optically inactive. So first one is optically inactive. Again AA repeating pattern, so it is optically inactive by this principle. Again AA repeating pattern, so it is optically inactive. But if you see the last set, AB, AC, AD, this is a non-repeating pattern. So this is optically active. Because it is optically active, we will have 2 isomers here. One will be dextro, another will be Levio. So in this case, we can say for this particular possibility, which I am drawing here, MAB, first set I have taken A opposite B, next set AC, A opposite C, and final one AD, A opposite D. So for this particular compound, if I take the mirror image, so that mirror image will be non-superimposable. So let us take the mirror image. So mirror image will be something like this. B will be here, C will be here, and D will be here. Okay. So this mirror image which will get in this case is non-superimposable. Because the mirror image is not non-superimposable, if I tell the first one as Lego, then the second one here, mirror image in this case, which is non-superimposable, will be dextro. So dextro and Levio are 2 optical isomers. So how many total optical isomers? 2 in this case. So this set results in 2 optical isomers. So we can say how many stereoisomers? We have total in this case 4 geometrical isomers. We have 4 geometrical isomers in which the 4th geometrical isomer has 2 optical isomers. So in all, how many stereoisomers will we have? 3 optically inactive geometrical isomers. So 3 optically inactive geometrical isomers, and the 4th one, the 4th geometrical isomer is active and it has 2 optical isomers. So in all we have 5 stereoisomers. So 5 stereoisomers are possible in this case. 3 optically inactive geometrical isomers. 4th one, geometrical isomer which is active, has 2 optical isomers. So in all 3 plus 2 will be 5 stereoisomers. So for this particular geometry we have 5 stereoisomers which are possible. So how will we know the geometry, or how will we know the optical isomers in case of octahedral complexes? First of all, let us talk about tetrahedral complexes. In case of tetrahedral complex, we have first thing which is tetrahedral complexes generally do not show optical isomerism except in case of MABCD, where in case of MABCD we have chiral carbon-like structure. In its case, the mirror image of MABCD tetrahedral complex is non-superimposable, so it is optically active. Then we talked about the bidentate case in case of tetrahedral complexes. MAA2, it is optically inactive. MAB2, which is bidentate unsymmetrical ligand, it is optically active. Then we talked about generally square planar complexes are optically inactive because they have plane of symmetry. Finally, we talked about octahedral complexes. If there is a repeating pattern like AA, then it is optically inactive. If there is another repeating pattern AB, then also it is optically inactive. If it does not have these two repeating patterns, then in case of monodentate ligands, we can say it is optically active compound. So this is how we will understand the optical activity, which is optical isomers and geometrical isomers, which together constitute stereoisomers in case of coordination compounds. Do practice more and more questions based on these concepts, and we will see you in the